Hi guys, so a bit of a different style of video today because I'm standing up and not sat on my ass. But this is just going to be a relatively quick overview and review of the KMCS hide holster. So I was lucky enough to get one of these, full transparency, got it for free, didn't get anything extra, so what you're seeing is what you're going to get minus this pouch down here. But you get the holster, you get one mag carrier, you also get the main plate, the webbing, this secondary panel called an admin panel. And I've already set mine up to how I'm going to be wearing it, which is basically a little bit slimmer today. Those potatoes have finally gone down, and that is a bit of an inside joke for people who watched the live, which I did last week after a heavy week of eating potatoes at Christmas. So how I've got mine set up, and you can have it in various different ways, is I've got the MK here under my left shoulder. I've got the spare mag carrier just under the MK, and then I actually had this Pencott, I think I got it from Taiwan gun years and years ago, pouch that fits nicely on the admin panel, and this basically lets me run 4 VSR mags, and then it unzips and I can shove tools, speed loader, bag of BBs, etc. in there. And obviously that's very light. Like if you're just running a summer loadout with just a belt, you want to rock this, it really is low profile. To unholster this, you've got this little toggle here, which in fairness you can just do with the palm of your hand, and then it just clicks into place. But the idea is you've got into a position, unclip that, get into position, do what you're doing, and if for any reason you do need to use the MK, then it's just straight out, you're good to go. Getting it back in, goes in, flips, and that automatically bounces, but normally you just run your palm over it. It clips in, and once you've got this toggle on, this isn't going anywhere. So nice and easy, drop it in, close that palm, you're good to go. Obviously with a mag, you can adjust the tension on this with these 2 screws here, so I've got that. So it's got a bit of grip, you can have it tighter, but for me, that's more than fine. So, clip off, out, in. You sort of got to get it in at an angle and then just seat it. And height-wise, I'm pretty short. Width-wise, probably a bit bigger than average at the moment. But I've got no problems running this. I've still got loads of adjustment up here. And on this section, again, I've still got quite a bit of adjustment. And this bit is elasticated. But I quite like it. It is very, very low profile. And I already did, when I did the live video, which you can go on Facebook and see. But again, so if you're running something lightweight like this is ideal. Like if you're just doing a typical skirmish where you're just out for like an hour at a time, this is great. You'd have 1 mag in the pistol, 1 mag in a holster. For me, I run a VSR as my primary most days. So 4 VSR mags, tools, BBs, speed loader. This is literally all I would need to carry. And it keeps me very, very light. If you take this pouch off, you can basically run it without anything on it, literally just the holster here. Then you can run a chest rig. So this is a Viper VX buckle up utility rig, which I've had. I got sent this one pre-release and I've had it since. This is 3, 4, maybe 5 years old. But I used to have a fabric holster. So this is just a cheap fabric-y style holster. I originally had this jerry-rigged here with cable ties and a bungee so I could swivel it. So it essentially sit in the same sort of position under here, but obviously it is a lot more flopsy. Whereas this, again, get this off, just run the bare webbing with this panel. You can have your chest rig so it still sits here. You can, again, twist this around, raise it up high, whatever you need, and you can still use it. It is loud. There's no getting away from that. That is one of the cons of Kydex. It is very, very loud compared to a fabric holster, but it is solid. Like if you're running, this is not going to move. When you're in position, untoggle that, and then you do need to quickly get it out, you can. The draw on it's very short, especially if you're using a short suppressor. I'm obviously running the short MK Hex, but yeah, it's easy to use, clips in, does its job. Having this there, again, nice and easy. Quality wise, I've had no real issues with anything. The only bit I have had, and again in fairness, I've had this on other Kydex stuff that's wrapped is the material just come a little bit unstuck, just there. Other than that, everything's secure. The straps are really thick, sturdy stuff with a rubberized finish, so they're gripping on your clothing or your leaf suit, whatever you're wearing. Clips are all fine. The actual holster and the panels, good quality. I don't see any issues with it, and I think you'll get a lifetime guarantee with it. And it works, it does its job. I think there was an introductory offer of like 10-20% off if you bought it early, and then I think the price goes up to like £125-130, which if you were to buy just a holster, just a mag, and then some form of other webbing, you're going to be hovering around that price with Kydex anyway, because it is a bit on the pricey side. Obviously, I think just a general MK holster from most people that make Kydex holsters is probably sort of £60-70 anyway. Obviously, you can pick these up for less than a tenner, and if you are on a budget, these are fine. The benefit of this is while it isn't as secure and you don't have the same flexibility as this, because this has got, where it's got all of these cutouts here, you can change the height of this, where it is sort of up, down, left, right, and you can angle it. This is, you're basically jerry-rigging this, which is what I did. And again, I had this for years and it worked fine. Obviously this is very quiet compared to getting that out versus like, there's obviously quite a difference in the sound there. But with this, I have had issues when I am laying down and crawling, because I had it at sort of that angle when you're crawling stuff, or if you're running, because this doesn't anchor as well as this does, because you are, again, just jerry-rigging this. I have had issues where this has just sort of tilted and I've run or turned it and it's just come out. So the pro of the Kydex stuff is that is secure. Once that's on, that's completely secure. If you've got this off, however, because this is an open top design, so rather than a straight draw, you're breaking at an angle. What you will find is if you're trying to run around and do stuff without it being fully locked, it only takes a bit of pressure anywhere down below this pivot point. It's really hard to do this when the camera's not in my usual place. That is going to make that loose if it gets caught at this pivot. Pulling it upwards, it's not going to go anywhere. But if you do turn into something and you catch that, it does knock it out. But again, if you're using it how I believe it's intended to be used, you would have it secured, do your running, your ducking, your diving, your dodging, get into position, untoggle it, and then when you need it, it's easy to just get it out. And you can do it one-handed. The only bit that you need your second hand for is here, but that's very easy. You can do that with your wrist, your palm, anything. You just need to gently do something to catch it so it just moves up. But yeah, I like it. I think it is on the pricey side of stuff, but Kydex is like, for what you pay for a Kydex holster, you could buy an entire rig. Kydex is just inherently expensive because of the material and the work that goes into it. But I think it's reasonable for the price. I like it. If I'm running light, I'll use it. If I'm using, obviously, I've got this rig, which is obviously the tiniest one I've got, which is the utility. But if I'm using the ready up rig or the spec ops rig, like if I'm doing a longer day where you're not going back every hour and you're out for like the whole morning or the whole day, if I'm using a bigger rig, I'd strip all of this off and just have the holster. If I'm running light with just I've got a shooter's belt down here, which has got my couple of USP mags and USP compact on it, then that mixed with what I carry for the VSR is going to be more than enough for me to just go and play my game. Criticisms I've got, the mounting holes on the actual platforms, so you've got small holes, which are for these screws, and then you've got these longer horizontal cuts, which are for molly. So this one, you can see there's molly threaded through there. They're very small. You do have to flex the material quite a bit to get the molly through. That might vary on the pouch you've got on the straps, etc. So that can be a bit of a pain to get through. And changing the position of the actual holster with the screws is a bit finicky because, I don't know what you call them, 3 nuts on the inside, let's say in here, they have a habit of falling out. So you've kind of got to eyeball it to where you want it, and then just do one at a time. So find your first anchor point, which I would always suggest try and find this bottom one here, and then try and find the nearest place to the position you want to then try and do the other 2. But it is fiddly because you've got to kind of hold this one in, flip it over, keep it in place, then put this little metal ring on, and then put the screws through. But they're Phillips screws, they're easy enough to do up. Like once they're on, they're on. but I found it just a little bit finicky to get things lined up just because of everything wants to move. But it's a very simple product that does just fix a very common problem, which is trying to get your holster cross-draw properly. But once you've got it set up how you want, it goes on, it's secure, nothing's going to move, and it is very lightweight. And this carbon, I think it's carbon weave, is got quite a good bit of flex to it. So once you've had it on a few times, you can see it conforms to your body. It does sit against you. Even like this admin pouch over here, it sort of bends around to my side. So yeah, if you are looking for a cross-draw holster and you have got a bit of money to spend, this is certainly an option. It is on the pricey side, but I suppose if you are getting that lifetime guarantee, if anything does go wrong with it and you're able to just reach out and get it repaired or replaced, then the money you're spending on that is great. I've not really had any Kydex stuff that's broken, I don't think. Not other than stuff that I've accidentally broken by like catching or something and shearing a screw off or something. But if you're paying this price for it and you're getting that guarantee, yeah, it's kind of worthwhile. It does what it's meant to do. If you want to cross-draw a holster, that's easy, secured, it does the job. Can you do something similar with a cheaper fabric holster? Yeah, absolutely you can. If you've got the time and the inclination, you can get these set up to work really well. Said I've had it on my VX rig for years. If it wears out, if things rip, these are cheap enough to buy. They are quieter, but they aren't as secure. Like they genuinely aren't. Like I've jerry-rigged this with cable ties. Bungee cord is really good as well. I had it tight to my body on bungee cord so that I could swivel it. So it would just always go back to its natural position. But if I was in an awkward position, I didn't constantly have to draw up. I could tilt it and pull it out. So if you're on a budget, yeah, stick with your budget. Get something like this and just work out how you're going to jerry-rig it to your setup. If you want something that you can just set up, clip on, run under an existing chest rig, or just something that you can adjust and run light. Because I think there's other panels and stuff coming out and extensions for this. So like this is a small admin panel that comes with it, and that's enough to fit a couple of mags on, or in my case, an admin pouch with the 4 mag holders at the front. But I think they're doing other plates. I think they've got one small one coming here. So if you're using a PTT or something, you can have that there. And I think they're doing bigger ones for here, so you can have a much more real estate if you are going to use some Kydex or Molly. I don't know if they're doing them in different patterns. I mean, Pencot's pretty popular, and in summer it's a very, very good pattern. And I was lucky enough that I just had I've got loads of random Pencot pouches for an old setup that I used to use. But yeah, for the money, it does its job. It is louder, but quality overall is good. If you're going to get the guarantee, brilliant. Would I have bought one myself? No, because I'm skint. But if I had the money to buy one, I think I probably would. If I was running a light summer setup, because I've got the belt, which I run really minimalist. I've just got 2 mags and the pistol on the right. With how hot it gets, wearing the chest rig, even though it's not huge, having that pressed against your body does warm you up quite a bit. So I think for summer, having something like this, yeah, I think I would. Especially at the introductory price, I certainly would have got it. And the fact that it is genuine Pencot, genuine Kydex, you are getting that guarantee, I'd consider it an investment. I've got it, and if the warranty holds up, I've got it for life. If anything of this breaks and I can just send it off, that's worthwhile, just for the hassle of not having to go and buy, I don't know, let's say a tenner and £7 postage now for most places to get a fabric one. If I go through one of those every year or two, generally speaking, if you were to get a comparable fabric loadout and things ripped and stuff, and you had to buy each time, then this would serve you better. Or if you're just a Kydex whore, lots of people just like Kydex. They like the tactile feel of it, the rigidity of it. So if you specifically do like Kydex, then yeah, I certainly think this is one of the better options on the market at the moment. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments, etc. And as usual, like, share, and all that YouTube crap. Hopefully that's given you a bit more of an insight if you were looking at purchasing one of these, or if you've already purchased one and you're just looking at some ideas for setup. This is a very basic light setup you can do. Pistol, mag, additional pouch with, for me, VSR, but you could put MK mags in there. You could run a M4 plate across there to carry 2 4 mags in, etc. But there you go, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think.